Okay, hi everyone, welcome back, and in this update we are going to check out ONYX coin's price chart. And if you remember the last time that we talked about XCN, I think we were right around here, and the idea was that we have completed the subwaves for an ABC zigzag, and hopefully from here we're going to get a move up, and in it, if we take this important high about, let's say, 1.7 cents, it will be an initial optimistic sign. So what happened? Unfortunately, we didn't do that, and I think we were actually right around here. And I said, on the other hand, if we get a move down and in it we take this low, at that point we should probably count on a continuation of the move down. And well, what do you know, that scenario unfortunately played out. So the question is, what is happening right now, and can we argue our move down in here is going to be over and we're going to get like a massive move up, or maybe we are going to have some more downward price action and possibly even take the lowest low all the way down here about 1.2 cents. So let's start counting some waves and see what is going on in the short term. Maybe it's best to go on 30-minute time frame and delete sub waves. Okay, so here is the problem. I think in XCN now this structure seems a hell of a lot like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave impulsive structure on the downside. And if I just zoom in a bit more, okay, now I'm going to argue instead of having a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we are having in here an ABC zigzag now starting from this point. And okay, if this is an ABC up, well, okay, it's quite clear this is an ABC on the downside. Let's actually delete the subwave so you can see it a bit better. There we go. I can now argue this was ABC up followed by, yep, another ABC on the downside to about here. And when you go on some lower time frames, I think it is actually possible to find an ABC zigzag in this small phase up. So maybe these are overall subwaves for, you know it, an ABCDE, which in terms of Elliott waves we call it a triangular structure, and it does actually have a habit of happening into wave 4. And well, we can say this is going to be yet another move on the downside into wave 5. Now, if this scenario is happening, then okay, I'm going to argue we are probably having a wave 1 correction for 2, another move down into wave 3, and this move up might be a corrective movement into wave 4. And what's next? You know the answer, another move down into wave 5. However, this isn't necessarily the biggest issue that we are having. Once more, the biggest issue comes down to the fact that maybe in here, instead of having a correction, we are having a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave, meaning this might be the beginning of a new move on the downside in XCN. So this is kind of sort of our bearish setup, indicating, okay, after a small move down, we may see a move on the upside, but that might be a correction in order to have a retest of this important level. And what's next? Unfortunately, we may see another move down in XCN in order to take the loss. Now, at this point, I'm betting that a lot of you are disappointed, but don't be, because what I'm talking about is in the interest of being 100% objective. And if you know me, you already know that at any given moment, I'm trying to come up with a bullish and also a bearish count at the same time. So in case either one of them happens, I'm not really going to be surprised at all. So this was in the interest of that. And the question is, can we have a bullish scenario in here? The answer is yes, and here is how I can argue that. Instead of having a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I am going to argue that in this scenario, excuse me, we are going to have something like this. This can be still an ABC down, followed by, yeah, sure, okay, let's say a triangular structure, an ABCDE, and this might be starting from here, yet another ABC on the downside. And excuse me, I just took the wrong object. There we go. And on a higher degree, what are we going to have? Maybe, hopefully, the subwaves for a WXY in form of a double zigzag. And in that case, well, okay, we can still argue that the 1-2 scenario is happening, meaning this can be a 1 correction for 2, and then we can have like a massive move up into wave 3, 4, 5, and on a higher degree, this is going to be into this wave 3 correction for 4, another move into wave 5. Now, can we have some other bullish counts? Yes. One other possibility suggests maybe instead of a 1, 2, we're just having, starting from here, a 1, 2, wave 3 to about here, correction for 4, and yet another move on the upside into wave 5. This scenario is also sort of kind of allowed. Personally, I'm not really a big fan of this thing, but you know, when it comes to analyzing the chart, I don't really think it matters what I feel about any specific chart or pattern. So in XCN, we came up so far with two bearish and also bullish scenario at the same time. The question is, which scenario can be in play, and at what point is it that we can be like a bit more bullish with more confidence? Here is the situation. At the moment, I really don't think anybody, and for that matter, I'm very real, anybody can tell you anything for sure, but I think there are actually some clues here and there, which with the help of them, you can identify which possibility are we having. And it all comes down to the move on the upside that we are probably going to get soon. So you see, if you want to argue that we're going to have our final low around here, I don't know, let's say like this is a very important support, then okay, fair enough. Off of the lowest low, you need to show me a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in order for me to flip absolutely bullish. Now, this specific example is an impulse. Rules for it are, we should not have overlapping of the waves between wave 2 and 4, and in any kind of 5 wave, wave 3 is not allowed to be the smallest wave. This is a big no-no in Elliott's waves, and in terms of the sub waves, 5 wave up into wave 1, 3, and 5. And for wave 2 and 4, we can consider different counts. Let's say, sure, an ABC into wave 2, and yep, a WXY structure into wave 4. Now, let's go on the live chart. Excuse me. So, let's check two different counts. This scenario suggests we are having a WXY in form of a double zigzag, and if this is the case, then okay, it seems like that we are pretty much at the end of our correction, meaning one way or the other, soon we're going to get a move up. The other count, on the other hand, suggested that this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave down, and even according to the most bearish scenario, what happens after a 5 wave down? You know the answer. We are going to have a move on the upside. So again, one way or the other, seems like that we want to get a move up. However, the move up that we are going to get, honestly, it is kind of predictable, and it doesn't really mean a whole lot. No, what really matters is the shape of that move. What you want to see in XCN in the short term, in order for you to be optimistic, is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave up, generally a very strong move without a whole lot of overlapping of the waves. And if at the same time in this phase up, we managed to take this important high and especially reclaim this level once more, which the high round of it is about 1.7 cents, that could actually be like a very, very optimistic sign, suggesting this indeed was a correction all along, and we are looking still very much optimistic. On the other hand, what you do not want to see is a very slow and choppy move on the upside, which between our pullbacks, we are just constantly able to identify overlapping of the waves. And well, that means, unfortunately, we are having a correction structure, and after it's over, we are going to most likely get yet another move on the downside. Also, I need you to pay full attention to this unbelievable important low, about 1.3 cents. Now, why is this important? Because if we go down a little bit more and take this low, okay, that's not really going to be a good sign. And at that point, I'm thinking you are probably going to see a lot of people and analysts talk about this scenario, meaning having an ABC up off of the lowest low, suggesting this was a correction and our move down overall is not over, and this move down is going to continue, and we're going to take the lowest low down here for the first target, about 1.2 cents. And at that point, since under here we really, in my view at least, do not have a whole lot of strong supports, we may go a bit more down than that and possibly even reach to about this important level between, let's say, 0.8 cents to about 1 cent. I think that can also be in play. But again, in my view, it all comes down to the move up that we are going to get soon. What's the shape of this thing is going to look like? This, in my opinion, is the real question. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in ONYX coin charts. Anyway, if you found any value in my content, I would really appreciate if you like this video and consider subscribing to my channel and follow me on Twitter. And if you want more, maybe you want a complete analysis for your own specific crypto, or maybe you want to learn some decent TA in order to be able to make good money in the markets, you can become a member and ask me anything you want. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time. Goodbye.